Hello, everybody. I'm Alexey Khrabrov, the organizer of SF Scala. Here we're on location at Shasta Ventures. It's a company funding a lot of Scala-centric startups, starting with TypeSafe itself, the Scala company, now Lightbend. Here we have with us Tally, which is using Scala, and that's the company which will basically take over the financial world. And we're very excited about with having them in the community, and they're helping us with this tonight's meetup. And we have with us Jason and Brad, and they will introduce themselves.
Hello, I'm Jason, founder and CEO of Tally, and this is with me my head of engineering, Bradley Falk.
Hi, everybody. Pleased to meet you. We're actually really excited to be here today.
So can you tell us a little bit about what Tally does and why did you choose Scala to do it?
All right, well, I'll do the first part, what Tally is. Mm-hmm. So we're building the self-driving car of personal finance. Historically, finance apps just give you data and charts, and then you have to figure out what to do with it. Tally is building the next generation, which actually makes the decisions for you and quantifiably saves you time and money. So in order to do that, we've actually had to build an entire bank stack from the ledger up. So we built our entire own bank stack using Scala. And I'll turn it over to Brad so he can talk about why we made that decision.
Thank you, Jason. So Scala is actually an incredibly powerful tool for our type of a system. I don't think it'll be uncommon to see more banks using Scala. One of the strengths of it is that it allows us to maintain a reliable but scalable system such that we can maintain the transactions. Losing data scares us. Nobody wants to be losing money. So Scala allows us to achieve scale very efficiently while maintaining data quality.
So I talked with Jason earlier, and you have this phenomenal entrepreneurial history, right? You basically cornered house painting market in Massachusetts when you was a student, right? Which is basically is amazing to me. And then you did the PC diagnostic and business, right? So what makes it exciting for you to take over this gigantic market?
Yeah. So let's talk about our first product. So our first product is an app. You put in all your credit cards, and it gets rid of high APRs, it gets rid of late fees, and it manages all your cards for you automatically. Mm-hmm. So the banking industry is really good at taking money from our pockets and spending it on lavish things, right? And we're very motivated by the idea that we can use technology to automatically put all that money back into consumers' products, so into consumers' pockets. So what makes us so excited about this is that we can give people an app that makes their life better and saves them $200 to $1,000 a year, and it doesn't require any effort on their part. So we think that the banking industry is ripe for disruption, and choosing a technology like Scala is one of the things that gives us a distinct advantage. Because we can build higher performance applications faster that are more secure that otherwise would not be possible without these modern technologies.
That sounds really exciting, but like financial industry obviously has a lot of legacy things, right?
Yep.
So I want to ask Brad, how are we going to interchange with all this old stuff, right? Like how are we going to work with all these APIs? How are we going to use Scala to basically keep up with existing infrastructure?
I mean, existing infrastructure is going to be legacy by default. Some banks are going to be very slow, sometimes intentionally slow, but we can actually manage that. So at a certain point, there will be some batch-oriented processing, and you have to deal with that. In the meantime, the consumer experience can be as fast as you would expect it to be. So you can transfer money, and that would show up immediately in your app, because you would expect that. So Scala from the consumer side makes that very, very easy. Some of the other systems that you would actually do integration with can be more complicated depending on the nature of it. So Scala it's actually, I would say, like some of the APIs that we can consume allow us to abstract that complexity. So we can build in the automatic retries. We can build in the automatic recovery so that the user has still a graceful experience, but still we can gracefully fall back and provide maybe some cache data as we recover, and then we'll update it eventually. So yeah, Scala gives us a lot of flexibility while focusing on the consumer experience.
Another thing I wanted to ask is obviously there is a lot of risk in credit management, and it's a data problem, right? So, Scala has a lot of different things to do about, to work with data. Can you tell me a little bit, what kind of data side Tally will have? What kind of data problems you might encounter? And, because there is a lot of folks who look at Scala as a data science language. So can you tell me, some of your ideas on the data side?
Yeah, so we're still a young company, and there's definitely evolution to happen. But right now, we're focusing on the quality of the data. So things like managing ledger data. It starts off small, but as time goes on, it gets larger and larger, and then we get to do more and more insightful things with that data. So we're starting off small with that. We're doing our own analytics. But as that evolves, we can start branching out to other technologies, and ideally within the Scala world to leverage that.
Are you planning to use things like Spark?
Spark is a natural migration for us. Yeah, that is definitely a very strong candidate.
What about type systems? How will it help you to ensure consistency?
Yeah, that's a great question. So Scala clearly is one of its strengths is the type system. We get to apply types to different types of actions that consumers have to, like different types of data. So different ledgers, we can identify the type of ledger based on the types. And that allows us to abstract how we interact with that and how do we do kind of the core financial calculations reliably. Like that's the fundamental strength of a functional language, is that that is also object-oriented, is that we can apply the right logic depending on its type.
So, and probably I'll, ask Jason for closing, basically in order to compete with this world, you need to raise huge amounts of capital, right? So you have unique entrepreneurial trajectory. So what makes you think that you will be able to raise billions and billions of dollars? And what needs to happen on the technology side, right, to enable you to basically compete with established institutions?
Yeah, absolutely. So a finance company like ours is fundamentally driven by raising capital, as you mentioned, and we have a proven track record to do that. We just closed a $15 million Series A in May, and all of our rounds were heavily oversubscribed. So a lot more demand from investors than we have availability. So I think fundamentally, here's why Tally is going to be successful. It's able to make the customer's life easier, save them money, but it's also able to give the investors that actually fund all of the balances higher returns than they would get if they just invested in banks themselves. So consumers are better off, investors are better off, and we're able to do that all automatically. So the automatic part is a key, and that's completely technology enabled. And if we don't build high performance and reliability into our backend infrastructure, there's no way that we can make that magic happen. So without these modern technologies and a brilliant engineering team, there's no way that we'd be able to pull this off.
Awesome. So basically, you're going to build a much more efficient bank by squeezing out all this inefficient old tech and kind of making it lean and modern and kind of driving the margins.
Yeah, and smart. I mean, I think there's not a lot of intelligence built on a normal bank stack, whereas we have built intelligence that can make the decisions that people aren't capable of making, but all optimized and automatically.
Awesome. This is a great plan. I hope it all works out, and we'll do our part on the community side. And thank you very much. Looking forward to a partnership with Tally.
Okay. Thank you, Alexei.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.